Thank you for watching this week's Weatherquest farming forecast recorded on Friday the 24th of May 2019. We're going to start the farming forecast this week by taking a look at the conditions over the United States like we have talked about the last few farming forecasts, continuing to see severe weather causing flooding along the Mississippi and the Missouri River valleys, big agricultural areas in the United States. These states shown on the map here, and many of them seeing lots of areas underwater. So this map, looping by day through the month of May, is showing us rivers that are above flood stage is where the black dots are, and the blue and the lighter shade of blue are rivers that are very near flood stage. And you can see as this map loops through the month of May, many of these rivers, particularly across the Midwest, are very near or above flood stage, continuing to see lots of issues there. And you may have heard in the news the last couple of days, the town of Webbers Falls, Oklahoma, we saw some barges break free of their moorings and drift and actually strike a dam. So they evacuated the town, and there was real worries that there would be very fast flash flooding into the town as this river broke through the dam. Luckily that hasn't happened yet, so but the United States dealing with a lot of that. So a couple of days ago, a severe weather event tracked right across that region. The red dots showing you tornado reports, and the green dots showing hail reports, and the blue dots showing very strong straight line wind reports. But these hailstones as well this time of year. This is severe weather season over in the United States, so you get the big thunderstorms this time of year, and the hailstones can be the size of tennis balls. So you can imagine the damage that that does to agricultural land where these supercell severe thunderstorms track across. And unfortunately, the forecast for Saturday, the 25th of May, has these severe thunderstorms tracking right over the same areas again. So expecting the potential of tornadoes, large hail, but also potentially another 3 to 5 inches of rain in places right across these swollen river valleys, and more flooding expected as we go through next week. So not a lot of reprieve to what's going on there over the next few days. Contrast that though with what's going on across Eastern Europe, and Russia has planted and expects one of their largest winter wheat yields on record, to rival that of 2009. So you can see this is the winter wheat sown, and the weather conditions over the last 18 months or so, especially across Eastern Europe and Western Russia, have been quite benign. There's not been a lot of severe cold over the winter, and they've had a decent amount of rainfall as well, so expecting the harvest to go well this year. So a real big contrast between what's happening there compared to what's going on in the US. Back closer to home, we've had some scattered showers ourselves, particularly down in the southwest where we've seen some heavy rain. About an inch of rain fell across parts of Dorset and into very eastern parts of Devon as well. These slow-moving heavy showers, and there were some reports on social media of some lettuce fields that were flooded across Dorset from this too. But the showers have been quite isolated, and especially back near to East Anglia, conditions have been drier over the last week. If you would like to access that radar that I just showed, you can go to WQRadar.co.uk and you can sign up to our service, which gives you access to live weather radar and also weather observations too. So if you're out in the field and the winds get up and you want to see how the winds are comparing with other stations around the UK and around your region, you can get an idea of the wind speed and the direction there. And also you can get lightning alerts as well. So if you're seeing the clouds building up in the distance and worried about a lightning strike, well, that will send you a text immediately and tell you how far a lightning strike is away, and you can get some idea of whether they're coming towards you. The surface chart for us over the weekend, we've got low pressure over Scandinavia, and we've also got low pressure just moving into western parts of Scotland, and we've had higher pressure down to the southwest, and so far that's been winning the battle into southern England and keeping us largely dry. But over the next day or two, this low is expected to track a bit further east and to bring a little bit more in the way of unsettled conditions as we get into the early part of next week. So what does the jet stream look like? So for early June, as we move into the first part of next month, we're going to see a fairly active jet stream across southern Britain. And when we see this, that generally signals unsettled conditions. So a lot of farmers looking for some rain. We've been in quite a long dry spell, so it would be useful to have an unsettled period. And this is the kind of pattern that you would want to see for that, but we'll talk about whether that's going to stick around further into June in just a second. But just looking at spraying opportunities over the next few days. So I think tomorrow, probably if you need to get some spraying done, Saturday the 25th of May, probably going to be your best day. Most of Britain and even parts of Eastern Ireland are experiencing some lighter winds and not much in the way of rainfall there, so that should be decent conditions for spraying. But once we get into early next week, I think spraying conditions are going to be a lot more limited due to the fact that we're going to have quite a bit of scattered showers and rainy conditions around. So the spraying is really Saturday in the south and east of Britain, and then after that I think it's going to be hard to find some spraying conditions into next week. This map I've showed in the last couple of weeks as well is showing us what the potential water loss or water gain is for a particular location. So it's taking precipitation and subtracting the amount of evaporation expected. And it's an ensemble computer model. So it means that we use slightly different starting conditions and we get a range of possibility in the forecast. So what's really useful from this perspective, so we're looking at Ely here, fairly representative of what much of central and eastern England will look like over the coming week. And you can see the drier period of weather at the beginning causing the ground to dry out a little bit, but then we enter that period from Sunday night and into next week where low pressure takes over and becomes more dominant, and quite a range of possibility here. So the reason why you see this is because of scattered showers. So some of these computer models will be bringing a scattered shower over Ely, other ones won't be, and that gives you this big fluctuation. But the general idea is that between Sunday night and through about Thursday or into Friday, there is going to be some unsettled weather around and the chance of some showers. And in general, the average idea from this ensemble model is that ground conditions are going to remain about where they are at the moment through next weekend. So we're not expecting the ground to dry out any more than it already has. And in some cases, there is a potential for as much as a good 10 millimeters of wet weather on top of the evaporation that's expected. So what's driving the weather pattern at the moment? So as we go toward the end of May, we've got a big area of low pressure across Scandinavia. We've got some high pressure to the southwest of the UK. This is bringing a northwesterly wind flow across the UK. So slightly chilly conditions, but you can see the proximity of the low there can continue to bring in the risk of showers. And this time of year with the ground warming up with some sunshine and the colder air that will be in the upper atmosphere on the western edge of this low will help showers to grow. And this is what we expect the precipitation anomaly to look like across Europe through the end of May. So we're going to see the influence of that high pressure still keeping drier conditions in the south, but near that low that's over Scandinavia, quite a few showers and near average rainfall conditions across central and even wetter than normal conditions across parts of Scotland to end May. Now this is just to remind you that jet stream pattern as we go into week 2. So the first week of June we see that jet stream increasing and moving over Britain, and what that does is it brings near or above average rainfall for the first week of June. You can see that the high pressure moves further south as the jet stream becomes more dominant, and I think this would be good news for a bit more unsettled weather through those first few days of June, at least giving most places average rainfall conditions, if not slightly above average, where we get some of the heavier showers. Now as we enter week 3 of the forecast, you can see that that pattern is still holding, especially across northern Scotland and possibly down into eastern England as well, where we stay near or just above average for rainfall into the second week of June. But that high pressure returning a little bit further into the southwestern part of Britain will bring slightly drier conditions. And then into week 4, a sign here of something slightly changing too, where we see a pattern more of southwesterly winds bringing some weather systems off of the Atlantic and into southern parts of Britain. This could even deliver some thunderstorms too to southern and central Britain, and then we start to dry out a little further north. So things changing in general, though. That outlook over the next 3 or 4 weeks is a little bit optimistic for at least rainfall conditions to be near average, if not a little bit higher than average in places. So those of us that need the rain after this prolonged dry spell we've talked about, should get some relief over the next few weeks. So the overview of that, turning more unsettled in general, average amounts of rain, but still I think fairly small amounts much of the time, apart from isolated heavy showers that fall. But overall, I don't think we're looking at really wet conditions. We're just talking about near average conditions, except for where you might see an isolated heavy shower. And in general, temperatures a little bit below average as well. So thank you for watching the Weatherquest Farming Forecast. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch with us through email, or you can find us on Twitter as well. Thank you very much.